Coming up on this episode of Inside the Armor, we sit down with both Coach Mack and assistant Chris Carrawell to talk about the Armor's play and playmakers. Plus, we'll show you a more personal side of those players. And we'll let you know about some of the upcoming events the Armor has in store over the holiday season. All that and more next.
This is Inside the Armor.
Welcome to Inside the Armor. I'm Pete Sousa, alongside a man who ranks second among active D-League coaches in winning percentage. Of course, I'm talking about Armor head coach Bob McKinnon, but he's brought reinforcements. Second show, he has reinforcements. Our special guest tonight has experienced just about everything basketball has to offer and is now giving back to the game that's given him so much. Armor assistant coach Chris Carrawell. Chris, welcome.
Glad to be here.
Good to have you. Coach Mack, we're getting into a rhythm now. We've got a couple games under our belt.
Yeah, we got a few games in, and I think as things progress and our players get more comfortable with our style of play and stuff, I think offensively you'll see us really start to come out. And last year we did the same thing. We came out and we didn't shoot the ball real well early in the season. I think our players have to adjust to the pace of the game that we play at. And then all of a sudden you'll see it's going to hit where we really hit on all cylinders and just really blow it out.
Well, before we get to know you a little bit, Chris, I want to talk about some of the players who may not be with us for too much longer.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. That's a good thing. I want to start on the inside with James Mays.
Yeah, James is having an incredible year. He started out the year with 3 double-doubles in 3 games, and it's just a guy he kind of has gotten forgotten about in the last couple of years. He played overseas after having an Achilles injury, and now he's back, and now I think the NBA people are really starting to recognize him. And we kind of think that he plays very similar to Reggie Evans, who's with the Brooklyn Nets, a terrific energy player, a guy who can go get rebounds, who has great hands, a great nose for the basketball, finishes inside, and again, just a terrific player in our league and someone who I think is going to be in the NBA for a few years.
Now, Chris, you work with the big men a lot. What are some of the things about James's game that you feel are NBA ready?
He's an unbelievable rebounder, and that's something that you can't teach. He has a nose for the ball. He's tough. He rebounds outside his area. He has a quick second jump. Okay, and being from the ACC and having the opportunity to watch James at Clemson, his rebounding translates on all levels. He did it in college. He's doing it now in NBA training camp. He was one of the best rebounders in training camp with the Nets. So he had just an unbelievable nose for the ball, and it's a guy that if I was playing against him, I wouldn't want to guard him. So,
well, you mentioned rebounds. Now, Coach, we saw the first game against Ken, he had 17 boards, seven of which were offensive. How does a guy like that, what does he develop that nose for the offensive glass?
Well, he just has great energy and goes after it every single time. And like Chris said, he has a great second jump. So where he'll go after the first time, while most people have to stand and collect themselves, he has that second jump and that ability to go after it again. And then he has really strong hands. So when he gets his hand, just one hand on the ball, he can really pull it in and with his hands doesn't get it knocked away a whole lot. So he has a lot of physical attributes, but he also, as Chris said, is a tough guy. And he'll get knocked around and still be able to go after the ball.
He's got big paws grabbing that ball. Now, those big paws are 27-year-old paws. Now, Chris, do you feel like that could hurt him at all as far as a call-up is concerned?
Not at all. Not at all. You got to think that James, he did miss a year. He had a major injury a few years ago, actually playing for Coach.
Yeah.
And he was about to get a call up then.
In Colorado?
Yeah. So to me, 27, that's not.
Now, you are dating him a little bit. He is only 26.
27 in March.
Yeah, he'll be 27 until March of next year.
Next year. Right.
So let's not put too much on that.
So, I still think that at his age, he's young. He's young. Now, if he was 37, don't have a problem. But so he's 26 years old, and he has a chance. He's really smart. He's relentless, and I think whatever age, a team can really use that energy. He's not high maintenance, and he brings it every day. So hopefully, NBA team picks up on that and and brings him in.
Well, we mentioned him being in training camp with Brooklyn. and we talked about a player named Reggie Evans. Let's see what James had to say about his experience in Brooklyn.
The biggest impact on me was, it was actually two players. It was Darren Williams and Reggie Evans. Darren with his leadership and how he approached practice, and as being an all-star, how hard he played and how much he wanted to get everybody involved. And with Reggie Evans, for me, I feel like my niche was going to be defense to make the league. And Reggie, how hard he played every time. Not necessarily scored, but he did the little things that nobody else wanted to do for his rebound, hustle, get steals, deflections, and he took pride into it. And I took some of his things that he did, and I tried to incorporate it into my game.
Now, when a guy says, Chris, that he's modeling his game after Reggie Evans, what does that tell you?
Man, it's amazing. Reggie Evans is a true professional. You know, having an opportunity, Coach and I, to be up there for a month, he brought it every day. He came to practice every single day. And competition in practice, him guarding Brooke, going against Andre Blatch, those guys went, and then James. You should see those practices. I mean, we had the opportunity and the pleasure to see them, but I mean, those practices, you know, to be a true professional and for James to have an opportunity to see that, it's going to go a long way in the future with his game.
James and Carlton were both in camp with the net. Now, you guys carry the message, like you mentioned, Chris, you're a month up there during camp. You know, you guys carry that message to the players here in Springfield. Is there a message that James and Carlton had a chance to get there?
Well, I think, again, it's the professionalism that they bring. And now James and Carlton bring that same thing to our practices. And it's not so much the spoken word, it's how they carry themselves. And they saw that firsthand, how you act as a professional. You know, Ben Uzo has been in the NBA. Was in training camp already, you know, this past year with other teams. Willie Reed was in the Sacramento Kings training camp. So these guys have all seen how professionals act and how they carry themselves. So they don't have to come to our practices and say anything. It's what they do. It's the fact that when we have a practice at 10 o'clock in the morning, Ben Uzo's out there at 9 o'clock in the morning working on his game before practice. You know, and bringing a guy like Sean Van Zandt in and working with him on drills and things before we even get out on the court. And these guys learn what it takes to work and the effort and the energy that you have to put forth every day in order to get to that next level.
Yeah, most definitely. And you know, another guy with pro experience, as you mentioned, is Ben Uzo. This guy might be gone by the end of the show. So we got to talk about him right now. Let's take a look at Ben real quick. Some of his highlights.
Yeah, I tell you, he is just a true professional. He's got great size for a point guard. He's legit 6'4". He's got extremely long arms, and with his wingspan, he's able to cover people and get deflections and keep people in front of him better than most. He's got quick feet. He's got a great nose for that. Again, I think he's got a long career ahead of him as an NBA lead guard, and you know, he should definitely at least be a backup lead guard in the NBA and someone that has a long career there.
Yeah, well, Chris, you know, you take a look at a guy like Ben. You know, what kind of situation do you think it will be? Does it take the perfect situation for him to get called up?
I don't think so. You know, he's a player. You know, we played when I was on staff at Duke. We had the opportunity to watch him play when he was at Tulsa, and I thought he was really good. Coach K and the whole staff did as well. And it's been amazing to me to see that he's not in the NBA. I mean, Coach alluded to just a couple minutes ago. He comes every day. Has great size for the point guard position. Smart, knows the game. I mean, he had a triple-double at the end of the year in the NBA. So, I mean, what
not a lot of players walking around the planet Earth with a triple-double, let alone Springfield, right?
Absolutely. So I think he'll be there. Yeah, he'll be there.
You know, Christian Polk told me on the radio last week that he talked about Ben being at Tulsa and Christian being at UTEP, and he said Ben has gotten so better. He said it with a bunch of O's, so much better since college. Now, is that, did you guys pick up on that too? Have people talked about that? Has he improved that dramatically since college?
Yeah, I think he gets better every day because he works at it. And his work ethic has been second to none on our team. And you know, he's a kind of guy that he is still developing his game. You know, he's developing his jump shot still. He still has parts of his games he's developing to be NBA ready. And because of that, you know, I think he's going to have a long career in the NBA.
Now, we had a chance to sit down with Ben, just like we sat down with James. And he told us a little bit about what his experience was like at training camp, or training camp with Denver and experience in the NBA. Let's take a look.
I've taken everything, good to bad, in between. I know the systems. I know how to be a pro. You know, I pretty much just learned a lot about myself over the past couple years.
You mentioned systems. How similar is this system to the one you played in your first year with the Nets and, with the Nets recently?
It's the same.
It is. Now, Chris, it was interesting what he said. Seemed like he was telling us that he grew up a little bit when he was in the NBA. Is that something you take away from time with him?
Absolutely. This is not easy. Being here in the D League, it's a tough league, a great league. I love the league, but it's tough. But his attitude, the way he works every day, and just being around the pros, being in the NBA, you get to see how pros work on an everyday basis, and he has a drive. He has a drive to look. He wants to be better, and he wants to play and be in the NBA long term. And I think, for our guys, especially a guy like Sean Van Zandt, getting the opportunity to see that every day, he's gotten better just by watching Ben and going against a guy like Ben Uzo every day.
Moving on to your role, Chris. We know you're an assistant coach, but also a lot of things people don't know about, guys that have roles in the NBA and in the D League is you're on the side of player development too. Talking to Coach before the show, you break down film. Jack of all trades. Can you describe your role with the Armor a little bit?
Absolutely. Last year, Coach and I developed a really good working relationship where, he allowed me my input. He listened to me because he's been coaching a long time. So, sometimes these head coaches don't listen to their assistants, but he does. And, I take that to heart because, I just work hard. I do a lot, but a lot is expected. And I see that he brings it every day. So whatever role I'm in is to help these guys, and more importantly, it's my man right here. I gotta have his back. So it's a lot of hard work, but I've gotten better as a coach. I'm a young coach in this game. I've gotten better, and I want to continue to improve in that area in all aspects, and hopefully one day, I can catch up to some of the good ones, to some of the great ones, and I have a great one to learn from.
But before we go forward, let's go backward. Let's take a look at Coach Carrawell, formerly Chris Carrawell, still Chris Carrawell, formerly the player Chris Carrawell. Let's take a look at him in action real quick.
Look at that, it's a few pounds ago.
It's Chris playing against UVA. Now the footage is a little grainy, but we got to go back some years,
pull-up
right?
jumper, man.
I'll tell you what,
ACC Player of the Year at Duke.
ACC Player of the Year.
First team All-American, NBA draft pick.
Yeah.
He played overseas, played in the D League in the first year in 2001. Also MVP in the ABA in 2006. Chris, how do you use all that experience you gathered? How do you kind of encapsulate that and convey it to the guys?
Well, the first day of training camp, Coach had me talk to the guys, and I told them about my first year in the D League. And everybody talks about working hard. Yeah, everybody, I work hard. But when you're in the D League or whatever you're doing, you have to be on a mission. You have to be on a mission. Working hard is just not good enough. And you got to be Ben Uzo, getting to the arena 3 hours earlier, getting to the practice facility 3 hours ahead or 2 hours before practice, getting shots up. And I didn't do that my first year. Yeah, I worked hard, but I wasn't on a mission. And to make it to the next level, which is the NBA for these guys, they have to be on a mission. So, and I can use my playing experience to really talk to these guys, and I tell them the truth. A lot of guys don't like to tell the truth. Look, I didn't make it, and here are a couple reasons why. And I think they respect it and they take heed to that.
Well, you had an illustrious career at Duke. Coach, it was a 4-year career. Now, 4 years, a guy with your skill set back then, you don't see that often, guys staying for that long in college, whether it's developing the habits on the court or off the court. How do you work with some of these younger guys?
Let me tell you something. Last year, we had the most returning players of any team in the D League. And everyone said, well, that was off of a 13-win team. And people said, well, how are you going to win with those guys? And every single one of our guys got better, And you're talking to the main reason why they got better. Chris Carrawell developed those players and helped them get better and get to that next level as a player. Because of his experiences, both as a player and now turning over as a coach, and teaching these young guys not only what to do, but how to do it, how to work at it, how to become a worker. And like a lot of times, like I yell at my kids, oh, you got to learn, you got to study. Well, we don't teach them how to study sometimes. Well, whereas Chris, Chris doesn't just show the players what to do, he shows them how to do it. And the successful steps you have to take in order to become a pro. And again, I'm proud of the fact that every single one of our guys felt like when we had exit interviews at the end of the year, they all came in and said, hey, we felt like we got better this year, and this is the main reason why.
Yeah, and Chris, I love how you said, I tell them the truth. I share my personal experience with them. Do you develop personal relationships with these guys?
Absolutely. You got to take it's a head coach relationship that the players have. That's different. Coach is going to be on them, pushing.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's going. I mean, that's the truth. I had the opportunity to work on the Coach K. Great coach. They push him. Sometimes players they get So as an assistant coach, your relationship is different. So as coaches pounding them, pushing them, I got to be the guy that bring them to the sides. Like, now look, okay, hey, this is what he was saying in these terms, and they can relate to that, and they respect that because they know that the player-head coach relationship is different than the player-assistant coach relationship. I can't be like him. There's only one him. I can't.
Yeah, thank God for that.
Yeah, right? It can't be two of us. No, it can't be two of us. So
sure.
The relationship that I have with the players and being a former player, I know what it is, but I know how hard they have to work to get to that next level.
And working under Coach K, how does that help get you ready for the opportunity to coach?
Oh, it was. I never wanted to be a coach. Kind of Nate James kind of drugged me into this, right? So, but. Being a player on the coach is different because I got to see how he worked on his staff every day. He brought it every day. And, being around coaches, I think, what I've learned from Coach K, what I learned from Coach Mack is, the attention to detail, the preparation, but more importantly, they care about their team. They love their guys, and it's not anything that Coach K wouldn't do for his guys, his players, and it's the same with Coach Mack. He's pushing these players. He's calling NBA GMs. He's always on the phone. He's emailing and stuff and they don't know that. That's one thing that they don't know, but I see it every day because I'm around them more than they are. So, I've been blessed because I've had the opportunity to learn from two great head coaches, and I think that's how you get better as a coach, by learning from the best.
Now, how does this incestuous Duke thing work? You got Billy King, the GM,
you
right?
better believe it.
The Nets, and now, with Springfield, of course, and then you got Coach K. How does it work? Does Coach K call you? Does Billy call you? Does Billy call Coach K?
Well, I really stepped into a pot of gold. When I was hired, Chris was already hired. And the Nets had already hired Chris to be the assistant here, and then they hired me to be the head coach. And so I was fortunate in that they had Chris in place for me already. And I knew Chris as a player and knew that he was coaching at Duke, didn't know him as a person. And we got a chance to sit down, obviously, before we came up to Springfield, and we sat in a little diner in Durham and had breakfast one morning when we had both gotten hired and talked about a lot of things. And it was like just a good feeling right from the start. And I felt like right away, this is a guy who knows what he's doing, who I can put my trust in, who I know is going to have my back, and also knows the game and has been through it. And obviously, you talk about the lineage, from his high school career in St. Louis to playing at Duke, and then playing in the D League, playing overseas, playing in the NBA, and then coaching at Duke. And being on both sides and working at different levels. And then he runs his own camps and does things in the community. And all that stuff are things that I like to be a part of. So it couldn't have been a better fit for me. And I'm fortunate there is that Duke connection with the Nets.
Again, I want to go back with you now, travel back in time and talk about that first year in the D League. In 2001, you were with Asheville. First of all, how much has it changed, and what was it like?
Well, to be honest with you, I didn't like it.
Okay.
I didn't like it. The situation, it was 40-minute games, so you were splitting time, and mentally, I just wasn't prepared for it. I wasn't prepared to be on that mission that I talked to these guys about.
I talked to you seem hungry about coaching.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And back then, I was still hung up on not getting drafted in the first round. A lot of stuff going on with me inside. So, that first year in the D League, wasn't a good year for me. Now to see how the D League has evolved with 16 teams now, the NBA affiliate, the coaching. We get some pretty good big name guys. The coaching's gotten better. And I talk to Coach Mack about this all the time. we have night shooting for these guys. We bring these guys back. It's optional at night so they can get shots up. That opportunity wasn't available for me. That was 11 years ago, but still just, so it's just different in so many ways.
More of a commitment now.
More of a commitment.
Yeah.
More of a commitment. Better talent. So, to be a part of this league is special. I enjoy every moment of this league. The travel can get tough sometimes.
Sure.
But overall, I love the D League.
And when it seems like you mentioned the guys on this team. It seems like you guys have a great group of guys on this team. From top to bottom, you get a chance to talk to them. You get a chance to just kind of see what they're like. We had a chance to kind of see how they wound things down off the court.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but so let's take a look at how they wind down and what they do. Best album of 2012.
2 Chainz, based on a true story.
Best movie of 2012.
Oh, The Dark Knight Rises.
Okay, you watch TV?
Yeah.
Okay, The Wire or Breaking Bad?
The Wire.
Best album of 2012.
Best album of 2012, I would say J. Cole. J. Cole, Sideline Story.
Best movie of 2012.
Best movie, The Avengers.
Now you watch TV, right?
Yeah.
The Wire or Breaking Bad?
That's a tough one, man. I really like Breaking Bad. I just got on Breaking Bad, but I have to say The Wire. The Wire is classic.
Best album of 2012.
I really like Kendrick Lamar's new album that just came out.
Best movie.
He Got Game. Of course.
Biggest accomplishment off the court.
Graduating with 2 degrees from Notre Dame.
I love those clips because it gives you an idea to see the personalities, what the guys are off the court, stuff that fans really don't get to see. Chris, how do these guys build chemistry, so quickly? Because, Coach, you and I talked about last week, and you mentioned earlier tonight, it is a brand new group of guys playing together. How do they build chemistry behind the scenes?
I think through competition in camp. These guys, we had a great camp. And these guys went after it hard, and then they competed against each other. And through competition, you build respect. So now, man, this guy, he goes hard. And then it's, you go hard at it on the court, and, we got good guys. I think our GM, Milton Lee, Coach Mack, we really do a good job. They really do a good job of bringing good guys in. And I think, in my opinion, it's college. It's like a college atmosphere. That's the type of atmosphere I think we want to have, and bringing guys in.
And then
like
that's said that. Milton has said that to me. He wants a collegiate atmosphere here. He wants our guys to feel like this is an extension almost of college for them. And so that's what we try to. We talked about. We did film the other day, and we talked to our players about, hey, when we watch the film, we watch how our bench reacts. And I'm proud of the fact that guys on the bench are cheering for the guys in the game. And, we take a Christian Polk out of the game, and when Clifford Tucker, who went in for him, makes a good play, Christian Polk's the first one off the bench cheering for him. And when you got that kind of stuff going on, you got good character people, it makes it easier to coach. And guys like that, shoot, it's fun.
Yeah, and it's funny to watch your team because, watching them play against L.A., a guy like Courtney Fortson, God never met a shot he didn't like. So I'm not asking for your opinion. I'm telling you what I think. Okay, and it seems like we don't have guys like that on our team. I mean,
the ball moves.
Yeah, the ball moves, and it's unselfish play. So the stuff.
Yeah, and we had the thing. Carlton Scott. We've told him he's not to turn down any open shots. But he got hit in the game against LA on a wing, and he had a good shot, and he moved it quick to Christian Polk in the corner, who had a great shot. And that's what I'm talking about. We'd have been happy if Carlton took that shot. But he just made an unselfish play and got another guy even a better shot, and that's where our team works and thinks. And, again, with the style we play, I don't think anybody worries about shots. They all know they're going to get theirs. So they're free, all right, to hit each other when they're open.
Now, Coach, you mentioned Carlton Scott real quickly. He went through a tough spell recently shooting the basketball, but we know he's a good shooter. I'll start with you, Coach, then I want to go to you, Chris. How do you deal with a guy like that who may be going through some trouble mentally, but he has the tools and he's a good shooter?
Well, I just think you tell him to keep going. Don't worry about your last one. It's the next one that counts. And, that's kind of our philosophy. And with a guy like Carlton and Christian, again, I'm not worried about them missing shots right now because they're getting adjusted to the pace of our game that we play at. Once they catch up to that, just like last year when Lance Hurdle and Jerry Smith and Dennis Warner and L.D. Williams struggled a little bit early shooting the ball, Okay, they had to get used to the pace of the game. Well, the same thing with Carlton right now. He's getting used to the pace of the game. When that catches up to him, you're going to see him have some 5-for-5s, some 5-for-6s from the three, and games like that. And all of a sudden, people are going to say, "Holy cow, this guy's unbelievable!" You know, and you know that's coming. All right, so just hold on. That's coming, Springfield. I promise you.
If you want to see Carlton shooting after this weekend, they travel to Canton, then they go to Fort Wayne. They being the Springfield Armor. Coach, when you're on the road, what do you guys do to build camaraderie?
Well, so much of our travel is in and out of airports, and we spend a lot of time in airports together, and we'll have meals in airports and do that kind of stuff, and we do meetings and practices on the road, but again, it's just kind of being around and making sure that, like, when we're on the road, Chris and I make sure that we see each guy and talk to each guy every day. And whether it be formal or informal, whether it be just walking, to practice together or something like that, those are little meetings that you kind of always have. And then bringing guys together and talking to them, and it's just, the road really bonds the team a lot of times in our thing, because you're traveling together and connections and making connections and traveling commercial flights and stuff. So you spend a lot of time in airports together, and there's not really a whole lot to do other than be together in an airport. So that's kind of a natural thing that happens.
Well, you guys, like I mentioned earlier, you guys will be on the road for the next couple of games, like you just mentioned, stuff to do on the road and how you build camaraderie. Then you guys are back here against Fort Wayne and Erie following weekend. What should we look for from those games?
Well, they're division games, and both teams have very good players. Erie is a very good three-point shooting team. Fort Wayne gets it up and down, has a terrific point guard in Russell Walker, has very good, a guy who I think the #1 pick in our back, Juwan Johnson.
Juwan Johnson.
So these guys, every team in our league right now seems to have at least 2 or 3 guys who are possible NBA call-ups. So you're going to see some great players no matter who we play. And Erie and Fort Wayne both they're division games, so they're going to be tightly contested.
Division games are tough. Those games are on December 21st, that's a Friday, and Saturday, December 22nd. You go to www.armorhoops.com to get tickets. We want to take ahead of some of the upcoming events for the Armor. You still have time to get your Season's Greetings Holiday All-You-Can-Eat package. This is a big deal, Coach. I know you like to eat.
Well, I love to eat.
This plan includes invitations to exclusive team events, limited edition Armor gear, and much more. So check that out. And also, the Springfield Armor, they're still collecting toys at the office. If anybody can bring a wrapped toy to the office.
Unwrapped.
Unwrapped, sorry. There you go. Unwrapped toy. Yes, we got to see what it is. An unwrapped toy to the office located in Monarch Tower. Go right ahead and do it. It's the same building where the CBS studio is we're shooting in right now is located. And of course, it's never too late to get your tickets to Armor games. Go ahead and call 413-746-3263 to get your tickets. Again, www.armorhoops.com for everything else. I think that is all the time we have. Coach and Chris.
My pleasure.
Thanks for having me,
Pete,
Coach.
as always, my man.
As always,
Good job.
Next
Good
week,
job.
we'll do it again.
All right. See you at the Mass Mutual Center.
You got it.